Hello, Mr. Rustam Azizi. Thank you so much for joining us today with the Bulan Institute for Peace Innovations. I am Eve Doyen-Blanchard. I'm a research assistant with the Bulan Institute for Peace Innovations. Thank you for joining us, and we'll now start the interview.
Oh, thank you.
So Tajikistan has recently repatriated women and children from Syria. Could you maybe tell us about the repatriation process, and was it difficult for the Tajik government to bring them back?
So actually, since 2015, so Tajikistan actually made available an automatic amnesty option for individuals who are voluntarily returning, and also, from the very beginning, there was a strong political will to bring all our citizens back, because Tajikistan had a unique experience between Central Asian countries, because we do have an experience of repatriation of our citizen and displaced citizen during civil war. So that's why from the very beginning there was a strong political will to bring them back. And there was a special group created under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and that was responsible for the repatriation process. And they were really working from the very beginning of the process. And the first flight on April 13, there was a special flight from Baghdad to Dushanbe, was organized by the government in collaboration with Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Iraq and Kuwait, and as well as UNICEF and other international organizations. And in total, that time, 84 children and teenagers were brought to their homeland. And the second, the work continued that time. And we that time knew for sure that some of our citizens were still remaining in Iraq, and also and also in Syria. And actually, the process started from that period. And after speaking with the representatives of Syrian government, our ambassador to Kuwait and Iraq, Mr. Zubaydullah, first time in October 2019, conveyed that their return should be in the near future. But unfortunately, those plans that were not successful because of, as a result of Turkish military operations at the time on northern Syria and after COVID pandemic. But for now, on August, actually last, there was another flight from Syria, and more than 146 children and women returned to Tajikistan, and they are placed in special place in Varzov region in Tajikistan. It's near to Dushanbe. It's a rehabilitation center under the Ministry of Health Care and the Social Protection. And now they are there. There is a rehabilitation period for them, and specialists from the ministry, different ministries and bodies are working with those returnees. What can we say for now? That they are now in safe place, in good health condition, and specialists from different bodies, from Ministry of Healthcare and Social Protection, Ministry of Labor, Committee for Women and Family Affairs under the government, and other different bodies are now working with them and preparing some of them to go into their homes or to their beloved ones, and some of them who cannot, who actually have no place to go, they maybe will be placed in special shelters under the Ministry of Healthcare and also as well as Ministry of Labor. But for now, the investigation process by law enforcement agencies is going, and for now we know that the majority of women will be amnested, but even for their amnesty, the investigation should be completed.
So you've talked about where these women and children are. Could you maybe tell us about how the rehabilitation process starts and what kind of practitioners have been involved in the process?
And as I mentioned before, the women and children are in special rehabilitation center near Dushanbe, and it's really in very good place. It's a valley in mountains with very good. Actually, it was the place where children were going for summer camps. So that's why they are in really very good place. Maybe I can even share some pictures, not about them, just about place. I can do it. And there are a special group created under the Executive Office President. It consists of 12 different ministries and bodies. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Justice, General Prosecutor Office, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Labor, etc. So 12 bodies. And now specialists are working with them. First, it's healthcare specialists and also psychologists, especially psychologists from Ministry of Healthcare. Actually, they are psychotherapists, kind of, and also psychologists from Ministry of Education and Committee for Women and Family Affairs under the government. They are working with both children and women. And also Ministry of Justice is responsible for their documentations, or maybe some of them are losing something. So, and law enforcement bodies doing their own job. So, and the Ministry of Labor, Migration, and Social Protection now also thinking about their maybe work in future, who needs to find job, or maybe some of them need to attend in kind of trainings, etc. So each ministry, is working on their own duty.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rustam Azizi. Tajikistan is well known for its practice of amnesty and dealing with returnees. Do you think that newly repatriated women will be amnestied?
Absolutely. I'm pretty much sure, and I know it, maybe it's kind of information I know. Why? Because it's our practice. Tajikistan had a lot of returnees. Now their number is self-returnees. Their number is more than 800 for now. And the majority of them were amnested, especially women and And it's according to official data of our Ministry of Internal Affairs, about 90% of all self-returnees were amnested, especially women. We had just in 2017, just 3 women arrested in prison because they were involved in kind of recruiting process, etc. And even they are now amnested on 2021 because of so-called gold amnesty, because of 30 years of our independence. So now we don't have any women in prison from returnees. And so that's why I'm pretty much sure that they also will be amnested. But the process, it's not easy. So we cannot just make a total amnesty. So amnesty will be for each individual case. And maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, I can go further and give you more details, because it is not announced now.
Thank you, Mr. Rustam Azizi. Could you tell us about self-returnees? How many men and women returned after the announcement of official amnesty by the Tajik government in 2014? Can we say that all of them were granted pardon, all of the self-returnees?
In the majority of self-returnees, they were men, and both men and women. And they just after they came, they were in special place, maybe like just 1 or 2 weeks. And if law enforcement agencies don't have a question for them, they just go to their own homes if they have a place to go, or they will be placed in their relatives or special shelters. What is about them? They're actually facing a lot of problems because the majority of activities and as well as help of international bodies is for returnees, for those repatriates who were repatriated by state, women and children. And self-returnees are kind of out of such kind of activities, and so they have to deal with their problems the most time by themselves. And yes, they are free, they are not in prison, majority of them. They are now in safe place, but it's not easy for them, for example, to find jobs, because when a person in Tajikistan joined a terrorist organization, he will be automatically placed in special blacklist in National Bank of Tajikistan. And after even he or she returned and was amnested, so that kind of amnesty doesn't mean that they will face financial amnesty. So that's why they even sometimes cannot even have a bank account, for example, or to have loans and credit, etc. And that's why they just have to deal with their problems by themselves, or just to ask their relatives or maybe some other kind of organization to help them. But I can say about very successful rehabilitation of self-returnees, because from more than 200 men, really men, amnested, we have just 2 cases of trying to join back that terrorist organization. So it's even less than 1%. So we can say that really those who voluntarily came back and they were amnested, they are really don't want to rejoin their organization again.
Thank you, Mr. Rustam. The final question that we have for you is, Tajikistan repatriated about 80 children from Iraqi prisons. Can you tell us how they feel now? Can you say that the rehabilitation program was successful? And maybe also mention what kind of challenges Tajikistan is facing now.
That 84 children from Iraq, and well, actually they could be called as an orphans with their mothers or maybe parents alive, because they are in Iraqi prisons, and according to our law, it's impossible to deprive their parental rights. So that's why the majority of that children placed in special orphanages or special boarding schools, and the rehabilitation and reintegration process is led by government bodies. And actually that 84 children belong to 34 families. And when they were placed in different schools and special orphanages, the siblings were not separated. So siblings went to the same school or to the same institution. And responsible Ministry of Education, Ministry of Healthcare, and other ministries are working with them. And now from returnees, from Iraqi returnees, we do have for now 4 adults who are now not in orphanage or special house, and they are in society, they are working, and so I think we can even talk about their successful rehabilitation. And even those who are in special schools, they are also making a lot of success, and now their level of education is equal to the same age, because when they were repatriated, some of them even didn't speak Tajiki or Russian. We actually used interpreters to translate from Arabic, etc. Now they are at the same level as the children of their age are, and some of them even making success. I know that a girl from Iraqi returnees took the first place in kind of competition in painting, something like that. And also, when I interviewed some specialists from Ministry of Education who are working with them, they said that actually their level of education now and their success is even higher than others, because they are really very motivated. And who are working with them? Actually, Ministry of Education working with them, and the different international organizations are helping. For example, UNICEF or Red Cross helps them. And but the majority of activities is done not with the children, but with those bodies who are delivering service for that, such as specialists of Ministry of Education, specialists of Committee of Women, specialists from Ministry of Healthcare, etc. And the real access to those children are really kind of limited. And because when you ask responsibles, they said we are just taking care about those children, about the security issue. So that's why it's better for them just to be integrated and kind of melted in their schools, etc. And that's why they were not actually placed in the one or two organizations, and we tried to place them in different schools and different bodies as much as it is possible. And some of the children, I know from July, joined their relatives. It was about 4 of them, I know for sure. And special commission is working. It's not easy to go because they don't have very close relatives, majority of them. It's uncles, kind of, or aunts, or maybe very aged grandparents. So, and government and is not sure that if it is good solution to just give their children back to their very aged grandparents, and they actually need now themselves kind of support. So that's why the priority is what is good for children.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rustam Azizi. Thank you so much for talking to us today and accepting this interview with the Bulan Institute for Peace Innovations.